You into it?
I love it.
You were in a trance.
I was.
You were elsewhere.
I was taken away to my Huckleberry Finn times.
I was just outside of myself there for a minute. Yeah. That was fantastic. Who doesn't love a great polka?
Love it.
Hello and welcome to the CarsGuide Podcast, where we tear down, pressure test and rebuild the issues of the automotive week. I'm James and with me are Richard.
Hi.
And Matt.
G'day.
This week, among other things, we'll look at lots of fresh, shiny metal, the ultimate hot lap, and the glorious return of an old favourite. So stay with us.
Cool.
But first, Muskwatch. Okay, so there it is.
Wow.
Tesla claims Model 3 production got there.
He's done it.
5,000 in a week.
5,000.
Yeah, but
not 6,000.
Well, we did have that internal memo and multiple sources claiming that it was a burst build of 6,000. So, but seemingly 5,000 is good enough.
Right.
Because that was the more common claim.
That's better than not 5,000.
Yeah.
So,
but what cost? What cost? And you say burst build.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Business Insider, we'll have a link to this story in the show notes, but is alleging some worrying shortcuts were made.
Yes.
I think separately we learned about some refinement in the production of the car to the point where there are fewer welds in various parts of it, that they're no longer necessary, these welds. And there was no brake and roll testing. And now a brake and roll test is on a kind of rolling road type dyno that just enables you to do, in a very clinical sense, a brake test and from certain speeds and do it in a repeatable way. Yeah. That went out the window.
Did you see the screenshots a worker had taken of their computer?
Okay.
So one of the workers, I'm assuming it's a worker, had taken a shot of that brake and roll test on their computer, and it's made up of like 15 different components of the brake and roll, and all of it just had none down it. And he's obviously, somebody's gone click.
Right.
And it was taken from the Friday when it stopped.
Look, the other side of that is that Tesla is apparently saying that they do a physical test of the car, of every one. They do a quick drive physical test.
Right.
And that makes the brake and roll redundant. However, just about every car manufacturer in the known world retains a brake and roll test. So to take it out seems somewhat worrisome.
Building them in a shed and taking welds out and not testing them as you go.
Oh,
I would not want to be in this batch.
And that was a temporary tent that they set up as well.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
It was a wedding marquee.
Yeah.
And look, and the other thing is that the Bloomberg Model 3 tracker that we've been following as a kind of yardstick still has the number. Like last week, they were at 1,566, which makes you think, okay, there's some holdback in there. And then even the Bloomberg tracker has 4,492. So that's not 5,000.
No.
So anyway, look, Tesla claims it. But the question is, can they do it week in, week out, without relying on overtime? Because apparently Elon was in there barking at the engineers on the assembly line,
yelling at them,
pulling workers from other departments. Apparently the Model S is 800 units behind because Model S workers were pulled into this line to make Model 3s. And the Model X line as well, there were weekend shifts, were mandatory. To your point, Matt, quality, safety, building cars at that kind of rate in what feels like a pretty slapdash, just you guys, come over here, we need you. Do this, we need to build some more Model 3s. Just seems
taking
amazing.
people out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Gladys.
And in all of this, Tesla's chief vehicle engineer, Doug Field, left the company.
He was the guy that went on leave a couple of months ago.
That's right. He was just on the banana lounge by the pool, just taking a rest while this was going on.
That's right.
Or was he in a psychiatric hospital?
5 years in the company, he's gone, no, I'm not having any of this
I saw
anymore.
some nice Twitter fire from Ford, applauding Tesla for their 5,000 in a week.
Yeah.
We do 6,000 in a day.
Yes.
Thanks very much for playing. Goodbye, Tesla.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a cheap shot, though, isn't it?
Well, the Tesla fans will say, look, it's a startup company, and that's good for a startup company. It's 15 years old. This company has been around for 15 years.
Did you see that email from Elon, which he sent out quickly to his employees to announce that, we've hit that mark? And a line in that email was, it looks like we are a real car company now.
Well, look,
you are.
Elon,
You have been for a while, but
Elon, the dear leader, is annoyed with short sellers of Tesla stock. Now, short selling, I don't claim to understand it. It inverts the normal logic where typically you buy low, sell high, make a profit.
Yep.
Short selling is where you sell first of all, the stock continues down, and then you buy. So it does my head in.
So essentially you're betting against the company succeeding.
Yes, exactly. So there are a lot of people short selling Tesla stock because it continues to tumble.
And the stock is falling.
So that's not great. Shareholders aren't happy, and a lot of them are selling out because they don't see a strong future.
I still reckon, I still think it will turn around.
All right. But you are ever the optimist, Richard.
I'm not.
You
I
are.
am.
You're
I am optimistic, but I really
indefatigable optimist.
I think Elon has a lot of money, and sometimes throwing a lot of money at something can make the problem go away.
Surely
And I
Elon
think that's
doesn't
what he's
have
doing.
anywhere near as much money now as he did 10 years ago, though.
Well, I think
that's
SpaceX
what your
is-
parents did with that small court matter when you were
They
in
did
short
throw a lot of
pants.
money.
They did throw a
I
lot
didn't
of
get
money.
any of that money, by the way. It's locked in an account.
Yeah, bursary for your further education.
That's right.
All right. Well, look, moving to a car that is built in numbers on a regular basis.
Oh, yeah.
Matt, you've been over in Japan and you've driven the new Subaru Forester. Tell us all about it.
Well, I can only tell you so much because I've filed the review. The video is up. Everything's live. But I was driving on a bicycle track where
gotcha.
people who ride
Yes.
around on little thin road bike tyres go around and round and round and round. And that's fantastic if you're riding a bicycle because the road's smooth. There's no bumps. There's no chance of you finding out whether the suspension actually
Wasn't
does
it
what it's supposed to.
velodrome? You didn't
It
take a
wasn't
wrong
velodrome.
turn.
No, it's not a velodrome. There is a velodrome as part of the complex.
So hang on, you're actually really on a bicycle track.
It's a paved road that is built for cyclists
bicycles.
Yeah.
from Tokyo to come out for the day.
Yep.
They just ride around this track, and it's
Wow.
like it's kind of like a miniature racetrack.
Yeah,
But
for bicycles.
it's
So
very-
that's how much faith Subaru had in your ability to drive this car will confine you to a tiny little track that's meant for push bikes.
well, yeah, it wasn't tiny. It's like a wide road, like a
Okay.
normal width road.
Yeah.
But it's just a contrived
yeah.
test loop. There was no stop-start traffic. There was no. I mean, they'd set up a chicane for us to go through some cones and
it
stuff.
brings up the images of when the kids on the tricycles and they've got the little stoplights.
Yeah,
They've got to
fully.
learn the
Yeah.
road rules.
Fully.
And it was
a bit like that.
But the thing is, it's very hard to go to an international launch and drive a car, and you want to give the reader as much information as you can on what the car's like, but you can't if you don't know what it's like.
Sure.
You can't. I mean, I came away thinking that the engine and the gearbox are pretty good. They might not be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The suspension felt okay. It might not be.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, what was the top speed that you're able to do?
Probably maybe 110.
Oh, that's
Right.
all right.
But
Okay.
that's in a place that's probably designed to
It's
be
pretty
going
smooth.
60 or 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's no it's no detriment to the car. I think the car is going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's built on the new platform that underpins the same thing as the Impreza and the XV,
Yep.
which we've been pretty impressed with. There are some question marks over the suspension tuning of that platform, I think, generally within the industry, whether it's too soft or not controlled enough or whatever. I found that with the Impreza, found it to be a bit bouncy at the back end, and the XV was better, but still not perfect. And I'm really, really interested to see what it's like to drive in Australia because, we didn't have to deal with rubbish road surfaces. We didn't do, as I said, any stop-start traffic. So, I came away thinking it could be great.
Yeah.
And it'll also depend because, they're getting rid of things like the turbocharged XT petrol, the turbo diesel. It's just going to be a 2.5 litre from launch.
slimmer lineup.
Yep, slimmer lineup, probably 3 models, maybe 4.
Yep.
And, I've had a bit of a guess at what they might cost in the
story. Yep.
But, we don't really know all that information yet.
But for anybody who takes their family on outings around a bicycle track, we're absolutely nailed it.
They're gonna be
There's gonna
fine.
But we'd be reserving judgment more than we would normally.
Yes.
Which is still, we always want to see how it goes on Australian roads.
Yeah.
We want to see how it goes on a road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a funny little insight into the world of international car launches. Travel to Japan, stay in Tokyo, drive, get transported in a bus 4 hours away to a bicycle track where you drive a car for 9 laps of this bicycle track, and you're supposed to come up with a meaningful outcome.
And what was the lap record?
I didn't set it.
Okay.
But it was the short version.
Well,
of the
look,
track,
a car that some people might see as sort of bicycle track sized is the old favourite, the Suzuki Jimny.
That
which
would
is
have been
just,
fun.
just so cool in a typically Japanese idiosyncratic way. And there'd been whispers that, we knew a new model was around, but would it come to Australia? There were some question marks about whether the safety equipment on board would be enough to qualify it for this market and other bits and pieces. But we've had confirmation that it is coming to Australia. And a lot of people, one to my left, are particularly excited.
Thank goodness. I am so excited.
Yeah, great.
I was messaging on Facebook the head of Suzuki Australia last night,
right.
Michael Pacoda, and I was telling him about how excited I am that this is happening. It's such an iconic little car. It's a really popular vehicle for Suzuki, particularly in places like Europe, where you need the four-wheel drive ability. You need something that's light to get you through the snow. If you live in the Alp region, there's a lot of them around, and this new one promises better safety, a better engine, better technology, better interior. It's going to be a very good little car.
Because the engine, what is the engine that we're looking at? 1.5.
Yeah.
And 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but a shame, not the 1 litre turbo.
Yeah.
But who knows what might happen in that field.
And there is something of an aftermarket in accessories and performance bits and pieces for the Jimny. Just for those listening and watching on the YouTubes, Matt's holding up a book which is roughly 2 centimetres thick.
Yep. Yeah, 300 pages.
300 pages of Suzuki Jimny stuff.
Yeah.
Which is rims, suspension kits, dress-up bits. And you told me that the rack that you got that from, that's not the only one. There are other Jimny mags.
No, this is a yearly. This is an annual, and there are. Sorry, I just bumped the microphone. There are a bunch of monthly mags as well that come out around the Jimny topic. It's a wild enthusiast scene.
That's great.
That's so good. Of articulation.
It's so good.
Jacked up Jimny.
Yeah, it looks like that wheel's actually broken.
To put it this way, for a lot of Japanese guys and girls, a Jimny is the equivalent of a Kombi, for example.
Gotcha.
It's their cult car. It's
fantastic.
And they get also a 660cc turbo engine because it's a K car class in Japan.
Yep.
And so we've never got that engine here. I've often thought and shopped on the Japanese auction sites to think about bringing one in for a couple of grand. But
do you reckon it's going to be big here?
The new one?
What's it up against? It's pretty small, so it's smaller than CHR, isn't it? It's like, you got the Ignis as your bottom Suzuki SUV, and then you've got above that S-Cross and Vitara. Yeah. So this is sort of in between.
It'll be on its own. Even if there are things that line up dimensionally or price-wise, it's such an individual, charismatic little car.
The only real competitor that I can see in the market for that is a Renegade Trackhawk.
Yep.
Right.
Because it's a proper 4-wheel drive and it's got low range and all that sort of stuff. The Jimny, it's going to stand on its own. Or Trailhawk. Not Trackhawk, sorry.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see the Renegade Trackhawk. I want a Hemi.
Hellcat.
Only the 5.7.
Yeah.
No,
5.7.
Okay. That'll do. Yeah, right. Anyway, speaking of cars in production, now an exciting message from wonderful, wonderful Winton.
Oof.
2 words from Winton to the 2018 competition. You lose. More thunder this year from the Aussie legend that's taken the performance world by storm. It's a piece of street art honed in a tough neighbourhood. Bathurst. Aero efficiency holds the Winton Turbo down, but nothing holds it back. Talk of the devil, the upgraded Redback 2-stroke V9 Turbo now howls with even more power and is backed up by an even smoother evolution of Winton's own torque tumbler transmission. There's a Winton for every purpose except standing still, and you deserve a car this good. The 2018 Winton Turbo. One look says a lot, one drive says it all.
Information not based on facts. Allow 6 to 8 months for delivery. Not intended for highway use. Store in a cool, dry place. Actual results may vary. Do not use if seal is broken. Dry clean only. Keep frozen until ready to use. Remember to dial before you dig. Aye.
Those guys.
Look, it again poses the question, where's Frosty? Good news,
Is he here?
He's back in Winton. He's back in Winton to help the company hit its bold new target of 5,000 turbos a week.
And the Bloomberg tracker's also onto that
We're
too.
going to get Bloomberg
Yeah.
onto it.
Yep.
So he's hired a marquee from his Uncle Albert, the Winton Wedding Shed,
That's right. It was, well, actually,
to expand production capacity, and is feeling pretty bullish about it. There have been some complaints from the workforce. They're very dedicated, but they're feeling under the pressure. But they're pumping out about 15 units a week right now. So
That's
things
right.
are looking good. They're just going to ramp up to 5,000.
can I just say that Doug Field, who left Tesla,
Whispers?
the word is, it's just a rumour, but
He's heading to Winton.
Maybe heading.
That's great
He may be
news.
heading to Winton.
That's great news. I'll get onto Frosty and find
They're
out.
electrified. We're not
Oh,
supposed
we
to
can't
go.
say anything. We can't say anything. We can't say anything.
Have I said
Okay,
too much?
moving on.
No.
Richard,
Yes.
speaking of new product,
Yes.
you've driven the new generation Santa Fe. It's bigger, safer. Tell us, what's the story?
Look, getting back to what Matt was saying about the Subaru, when Hyundai's come to Australia, Hyundai actually have a local engineering team which goes to work trying different combinations of dampers and springs to try and get the tuning right for Australian roads and for Australian tastes. You drove the Santa Fe in Korea,
Yes.
and it was a bit of a different beast to
Yeah,
the one
so
that we've got here.
It had a smaller diesel engine. It had a
right.
Korean tune for
Yep.
the steering and suspension. So
Yep.
it was really not very reflective of what we would get.
Is a Korean tune actually K-pop?
That's good.
That's very good, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it was quite a different car to the one that we have. So
Yep.
and Hyundai are known to do this with most of their vehicles, apart from the iMax and iLoad, I think, when they come into Australia, and they set it up for Australian roads. The ride, you were talking about, that Subaru maybe being a little bit soft and uncomposed. I have to say, last Santa Fe was really good. The ride in this new Santa Fe does feel soft, but it's composed soft.
Okay.
So you do dip quite a lot in dips, but it doesn't bounce all the way
And
out
Richard,
of it.
is it 5 and 7 seat or 7 seat only?
It's 7 seat only.
Yep.
It's a longer vehicle. It's 70 millimeters longer than the previous one. But interestingly, there's been no increase in legroom for the front, second and third rows. In
Really?
fact, there's been a reduction in legroom in the third row, but you've been given a bigger boot. I mean, that third row is a bonus row, because you've got to remember the Santa Fe isn't as big as a Kluger. It's not as big as a CX-9. It's CX-8 sized, which is hot off the press as well.
Yep.
Those two seats they're decent, but they're bonus seats really.
Yeah,
they're for
right.
kids or smaller humans.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed driving it. The safety features they've got some really good safety
Brilliant.
features.
Brilliant.
Rear occupant alert, which basically, for whatever reason, if you were to leave your child or your dog in the back seat,
Yep.
and you were to rush into a supermarket, it sounds the horn. So it detects that there's somebody there, and actually, embarrassingly, like quite rightly, honks the horn at you.
But also megaphones a message saying, you've forgotten your kid.
Yo, idiot.
Yeah,
You left
okay.
your kid in the back. And there's another feature which is great as well. It's called, I'm not sure what it's called, but it works with a child lock system. And it doesn't allow the child lock to go off if it detects a car approaching
Oh, really?
from the roadside. So often, if you've got kids, you'll know that as soon as you pull up, they want to jump out.
Wow.
Yeah.
And often that can be into traffic.
Yeah.
So what it does, even if you turn off the child lock, it will look up the road, and if there is a car coming, it will hold the lock on until
That's fantastic.
the car passes.
Smart.
That's really good.
Smart
That's
family
really
tech,
clever.
isn't it? Hey, how interesting is it that we've seen some shots of this even bigger Hyundai SUV? They're calling it the Palisade.
Yeah, it's going to be...
which is a terrible name.
Which
but
is obviously aimed squarely at the US.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I'd love to know if Hyundai might be considering that for Australia,
Yeah.
if it'll be built in
were
right-hand
keeping
drive.
very mum on the topic of a large. Obviously, at a Santa Fe launch, they don't want to talk about anything other than Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what's missing from Hyundai's SUV lineup,
A
and that is
monster.
a Kluger-sized,
Yeah.
SUV offering. So
Shout out to the Palisade, my favourite pub in Sydney. Anyway, look, different kind of vehicle altogether. We're moving on to a momentous week in the sense that we sometimes bemoan the fact that everybody's out there trying to break records at the Nurburgring. Oh, God, another car's gone out there. It's the fastest diesel hybrid 6-seat SUV. Who knows? Someone's tried to crack another record, but this time this is the outright fastest car ever round the Nordschleife, and it was by a substantial margin. So Timo Bernhard, Porsche factory race car driver, beat Stefan Belloff's record that stood since 1983. So
Wow.
Stefan Belloff was in a Porsche 956, so at least they've taken it away from another Porsche.
Mm-hmm.
And for those in the know, Stefan Belloff was an absolute prodigy, headed for great things, blindingly fast, unfortunately died in a crash at Spa, I believe. But before he departed this mortal coil, set that blistering record lap. And this one, so 6:11 and 13 was his time. Now Porsche's gone 5:19:55. And
That's
if you
Stuffs.
watch the video on YouTube, I found it genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Like really terrifying. Absolute hats off to Timo Bernhard, because even he, an expert at that circuit, must have been taking very deep breaths.
Yeah.
And I think they had to readjust his seat for certain appendages that were called into action
Yep,
during that
yep.
lap.
I mean,
fantastic.
they would have been a bit of
They're
a weight gain
solid
for
brass,
the car.
solid
but
brass. Amazing. Yeah.
That video is also on our website too, if you wanted to check it out. It looks like it's been sped up.
Yeah.
It looks so unreal that
Yeah.
it looks like it's been sped up.
And
so
it's not
quick.
just the outright speed, because I think it does push up towards 350, on the long straight at the end of the lap. But it's the way it accelerates out of slow corners, that the way it just grabs speed. And the car, it's called the 919 Tribute. It's the Le Mans winning car, but it's been modified, I think, in its drivetrain as well as the bodywork. It doesn't have those upright headlights anymore. It's like a droop nose 911 of old. They've smoothed off the front. So it's much more aerodynamically efficient, and it is wickedly fast.
Well, look, it's not only got a good top speed and like a time of 5:19:55, but for a track which his length is about 20.8 kilometres.
Yeah.
He's averaging around about 250 odd kilometres.
Yeah, average.
per
Yeah.
hour. Average.
Yeah. On
That's-
that lap, you're watching, and he rarely gets below, 180.
That's insane.
Yeah.
it is nuts. I applaud the effort. I just often think to myself, I don't care about Nurburgring, because most of us will never get to drive it.
Yep.
A. B. It makes, normal road going cars, like when a Megane RS or a Honda Civic Type R goes around there in 7.5 minutes or whatever, and you go, holy crap, that was fast.
Yeah.
And then someone comes out and does 5. You're like, oh, so this car that I've pined for years and years and years, and I've saved all my hard-earned money.
Yeah.
I've got 50 grand to buy this really fast car. It's a slow car.
But taking Porsche's position on this, that's a company that has built its reputation from day dot in motorsport and sports cars.
Yeah.
And they're a German company. The Nordschleife's in, the heart of Germany. It's a massive brand statement for them to pull that car off the race circuit, tweak it a bit, and then blow away their own record.
But it's kind of silly, isn't it? Like, race car goes fast. Of course it does.
I think its race car goes unbelievably fast.
Yeah.
So, and I understand your point. It's just that trust me, watch the video.
Yeah.
It is otherworldly.
And look, this is a very human thing. There's no reason to go fast, apart from when you're late, which is fine. Apparently, police will give you an exemption. But this is just a human thing. The moon's there, so let's go there. People are doing land speed records just because they can.
Yeah.
And this is just basically a way to kill time while we're on the planet. And it's a great way to do it.
Now,
So-
speaking of killing time while we're on the planet, here's a word from those gassed up young guns at Oversteer.
What happens when you put 3 hooligans together in one room? You get a podcast full of hectic banter.
Hummer is for any rugged man. This manly scent possesses a
that
blend.
rules me right out. Jeez.
Stupid stories.
It's a cruise ship with all the inside scooped out, water fills it up, and then you put a pirate ship in the middle. It's nothing more gangster than a ship in a ship.
You're an idiot.
And some discussion about cars.
So we've got the K cars as well. What do you guys think? There's this new Honda Sports concept there.
I think it looks so cool.
It
does look a bit funky, mate.
The Oversteer Podcast on the Cars Guide website, iTunes, and where all good podcasts are sold.
Gassed up is the right word.
Hot air.
I hate them.
He says it every time.
All right. So now we thought it might be the case, but we've got confirmation now that Queensland Police has decided to pick up the Kia Stinger as a pursuit type vehicle, and 50 of them, no less, and it's the V6 model. And we've got a story on our site. There it is, all in its war paint, ready to be out there doing whatever they do with those cars. So all of a sudden, it's a really mixed bag in terms of what various police in different states and territories are going for post Commodore Falcon. We've got 530D BMWs. We've got Chrysler SRTs. 300 SRTs. We've got now Stingers. It's and I know these stories always pull a lot of interest on CarsGuide.com.au. I reckon this one will too. People really want to know what the cops are using to potentially pull them over and book them, even when they're late.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. I think it looks lame.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think that's more the livery than the car, though.
Maybe it's the Queensland Highway Patrol's livery.
It's a bit boring.
It's pretty,
I think we are spoilt in New South Wales with some of the liveries that they put on their police cars here.
Ones.
They're like
orange, blue.
Yeah,
they look pretty angry.
Multicoloured, and they look like they belong on a racetrack, let alone just the side of the road with a radar gun.
I want to see what New South Wales Police would do with a Stinger.
Well, this one they call it Road Policing Command.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. What happened to Highway Patrol?
Yeah.
That sounds properly Mad Max.
Yeah.
We're
Next step, get you.
Highway Force.
Interceptor.
Yeah.
MFP.
Yeah.
I wonder if we will see it on New South Wales roads now, if they'll bring it back into contention, because wasn't one of the problems the ANCAP safety rating? They weren't happy with that as part of the mix.
Well, that's what kicked the Mustang well into touch. Because it's now standing at 3 ANCAP stars. Was it 2?
Oh, actually, it might have been an overheating issue with the Stinger.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Can I ask a question? If you're being chased in Queensland by a Stinger and you go over the Tweed Heads border, can they continue on to New South Wales? Or are you free?
Answer yes, I think, Richard.
No, they have to stop at the border.
All right.
They have to stop at Tweed Heads.
Listeners, viewers, give us your thoughts. Come on. All comments directed to Richard Berry.
Is it illegal? Is it illegal for a police car to follow
chase
you across
you over
the
a state border?
Yeah, is it legal?
Yeah.
Also, why are they chasing you? Pursuits, they've been proven to cause problems.
And this is the thing, like this. I think these sorts of cars and the excitement that we have around highway patrol cars, because they are designed primarily to pursue you and pull you over. It is a valid concern that pursuits can cause more damage than they can stop. So
I think there's also a little bit of Americana in that, isn't there? That a lot of the, I'm talking 50s, 60s, 70s, your cop pursuit pack was also available to the average buyer. You just had to tick that option box and you got the motor, the brakes, all that stuff. So there's that aura around police pursuit vehicles. They've got all the good stuff in them.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think police car chases. I mean, you've got a radio. Yeah, he's driving a green Falcon. He's coming out the road.
Yeah,
all right, we'll be waiting for him.
That's right. Yeah. Now, Richard, you're onto a report. Speaking of New South Wales Police, it sounds difficult to believe on the face of it, but fill us in on the detail.
Okay, so this is a story I spotted on. This is, I've got to be honest, not one of ours. It's an ABC News story that only went up about an hour ago. So an hour ago, Friday morning at 9 o'clock. So police in the Wollongong Illawarra area are walking the streets and opening cars to find out if they're unlocked or not. And if they're unlocked, they are going through the cars, searching for valuables. And if they find valuables, then they're issuing, at the moment, just warnings, but they can also issue a $108 fine, a fine or a warning to the car owner for forgetfulness.
Wow.
For not locking their car.
I've got to tell you, though, shout out to the Manly Daily, our local free newspaper. There's a section in there once a week, maybe twice, that just talks about local crime. It's the crime round, And I'm just constantly amazed at the number of people who have left their car, locked or unlocked, I'm not sure, but with laptops, phones, cash, wallet, in the car. And it's like, hello, surprise, surprise, it's been ripped off.
Yeah, it's true. But I mean, a lot of people are arguing, and they're arguing that, first of all, it's an invasion of privacy. Like, without a warrant, the police should be able to...
Can't they legally not do that?
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
If they believe that they've got a reason to, they possibly can.
But they're not looking for anything...
That's right.
Illegal.
They might find it in the process, which would be interesting.
That's part of it as well.
So that's issue.
What a lot of motoring bodies are claiming is that thieves will smash a window anyway. So if the door is unlocked, you'll potentially not come up with this.
Well, look,
much,
I don't know about you, but I've
damage and
parked in
costs.
various parts of Sydney where it's common practice to leave the glove box door open,
Yeah.
to leave any of the oddments trays open to show
Like
there's
the
no
till.
point in coming in here.
Yep. So people are saying, look, if it's going to get broken into and robbed, it'll get robbed anyway, and by leaving it unlocked, possibly cost less.
Short story is, don't leave stuff in your car
Yep.
because thieves are going to steal it,
Yeah.
or the cops are going to book you for having left it in there anyway.
That's
So it's
right.
just a bad idea all around. Look, with that, we've reached the finish line.
Okay.
Time's up. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
And thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
And thanks to our producer Marsden for his slick yet idiosyncratic moves on the buttons and sliders. We think he's great, but in Who's Who he's listed as What's That?
I like his hair.
Yeah. Thank you for listening as well, and please give us your thoughts on anything we've discussed today. Search for Cars Guide on Facebook and Instagram, and use the hashtag CG Podcast, or email us at comments@carsguide.com.au. And we have a special giveaway offer. For the best comment at comments@carsguide.com.au, we are giving away nothing less than a Ferrari.
So is that a 458?
For those, it's a 458 Italia.
Yep.
And for those on YouTube, you can see that it is actually a 1/14th scale version of the 458 Italia.
One careful owner by the looks of
things. Well Done. It's sponsored by Well Done. There is a sticker on the bonnet that says Well Done. It's
got the Cars
And
Guide.
it's, Cars Guide, registered, the whole bit, ready to roll. So for the best comment on comments@carsguide.com.au, you get the Ferrari.
That's yours.
Wow.
Win a Ferrari.
And look, thanks to Hammer Rocks for your feedback on YouTube. He listens to the podcast in bed, which is kind of encouraging yet creepy. And our fluctuating volume levels risk waking his sleeping girlfriend next to him. So thanks for letting us know, and we hope this episode is better. Yeah?
Are we like the other woman? Or
We're
man
like the
in
other
row?
person in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole...
He said he's listening to us, not watching us in bed, right?
Correct.
No, he is. But
That's true.
his girlfriend's beside him.
We're the third wheel.
Are we
are
in
the
bed?
third
So
wheel.
we're all in bed right now
Where
with
is
Hammer
bedtime
Rock.
story?
You can listen to and watch us on
Hey,
YouTube,
Hammer.
and if you're an iTunes devotee, please rate and review us. We've dropped to 4.5 from 5 out of 5 on iTunes ratings and reviews. Thank you. Now we're getting real.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We love the honesty.
Yeah. I hope you can join us next week. Until then, when is a car not a car?
I don't know.
When it turns into a driveway.
Night, Hammer.